Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge with Allah from accursed shaitan. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. With the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Clement. Dear viewers, I am Professor Mazhar Ayaz from Battery Problems and Solutions, Cholistan University of Veterinary Animal Sciences, Bahawalpur. Dear students and viewers, today we will be discussing about the types of parasites because that is a very huge problem throughout the world and for the humanity as well as for the animals. So today we will discuss about the types of parasites, which type of parasites are present in human beings, in animals, how do they infect them and how do they harm them, and what are the reasons and causes and their hosts and their life cycles we will discuss in the detail. Here you can see various types of parasites for your introduction and for your knowledge, so that you may know about the parasites. Mostly we divide the parasites uh, regarding their types, including the host, which host and how many hosts do they infect, location, especially location inside the body or outside the body, their predilection site, that where they want to go and want to sit and have their life to spend, then association between the parasite and the host and in the environment, life cycle, various types of life cycles and the factors involving in the life cycles, and last but not least the entry route, how do they get inside the body of the host. So these all topics will be discussed one by one for your convenience, please. On the basis of hosts, we divide first of all into the single host parasite, the parasite which lives its entire life on one host. Here we can give the example of some ticks that live only on a host and they spend their life, they lay their eggs, they have their nymph ones there and their adult ones and their male and female, and then they start again their life. Then we have two host parasites, in which a parasite needs two hosts for the life and completing the life cycles on the host. And here exodides or exodidae parasites, ticks, can be helpful for this, where they love to have cattle as well as their intermediate host as a rabbit, where they engorge, they live throughout the summer, and in this way they cross it. Then we have another basis, that is basis of host range. That host range various parasites do have various host range, in which number one is Stenogenous parasites, which has narrow host range. For example, Coccidia or Emeria, the American and European hookworms that infects only human beings, that they have very narrow host range. They cannot infect to the other animals. And in the same way, the bird lice Malphaga that infects only few bird species, not all. In this way, they have the very narrow host range where they live their life. And here you can see the life cycle of the intestinal hookworms, especially ankylostomas and Necator americanus, where they live only within human beings and they cannot infect to the other animals. Then is the Eurysternus parasites, which has broad hosts, for example, Isospora, trypanosomes, and Trichomonas. They may have several species of the host, and in this way they can infect more than one host at a time. On the basis of the location, the parasites are majorly divided into two. One is the endoparasite or internal parasite, a parasite which live inside the body of the host. The example can be given the parasites living inside the gut, inside the brain, or inside the liver, or sometimes inside the blood. The ectoparasites mostly live outside of the body of the host, and they are also called external parasites. So most of the time they spend their life on the body of the host, on the hair of the host, or on the skin, or nostrils, or ears. So here are the few examples of endo and ectoparasites. Then we have another term, that is erratic parasite, that is also called incidental parasite, accidental parasite, occasional parasite, non-habitual parasites, because most of the time they don't exist within the host, but accidentally they cause or they detract their body, their life cycles to another host that is not usual one. The example can be given the Scarus lumbricoides in the sheep rumen, the presence of Haemolepsis demonita, that is a rat tapeworm, into the organ which are not usually found, and Entamoeba histolytica in the liver or lung of the human beings, because they are not habitual of these sites. So they are the erratic parasites. Then is the facultative parasites, a parasite which can enjoy life with or without host. If host is present there, okay, the parasite will be spending life inside the host, and if the host is not present there, without host it can also live. And a beautiful example is Naegleria fowleri, that is brain eating amoeba, mostly present in the lakes or in the swimming pools, and when the human beings go there for recreational purposes or for swimmings, they get entry into the body, and in this way they cause disease. So this is the facultative parasite, and mostly entamoeba and Naegleria fowleri. The hyperparasites, a multiple number of parasites in one host, or sometimes it can be defined as parasite of a parasite, like Plasmodium is also parasite and the mosquito is a parasite. So Plasmodium is a parasite of mosquito as well as to the human beings. And another beautiful example is the Hetericus gallini, that is a nematode, or that is called sickle worm, that harbors Histomonas melagriptus, that is a protozoa cause black head disease in turkeys. So they are, the Hetericus gallinae is also parasite, and within parasite Histomonas melagriptus is its parasite, and Hetericus gallinarum can act as a vector or a carrier also for the Histomonas melagriptus to disseminate the disease to the healthy animals. Periodical parasites, they are not permanent, but they visit the host in certain period of time, especially ticks in the summer season, especially this brown dog tick, that is Rhipicephalus sanguinis, or sometimes fleas, they visit to their host in the specific period of the time. Then is the predilection site of the parasite, a place or organ in host body where parasite want to live and reproduce or complete life cycle. The example is the ruminal worm in the rumen, especially of the cattle and in the sheep or in the goat. The example can be given the Haemonchus contortus, or sometimes the free living Strongyles nematodes. So the rumen is the predilection site for that. Then another example is the monogenous parasites that has one type of definite host, and the beautiful example is the coccidia in the poultry, because they are specific and they are one type of definite host, and these poultry parasite coccidia cannot infect to the human beings or any other host. They can only infect to the poultry. The heterogeneous parasites, a parasite which has two or more types of hosts, like intermediate host and the final host, and the best example is the sarcocysts. So they can infect to the dogs as well as to the human beings, to the cattle, to the pigs, and birds also. So in this way, sarcocysts are heterogeneous. And next type, that is diheterogeneous, that is also subtype of heterogeneous. They were a parasite who has two hosts in their life cycle, and the best example is the Plasmodium, because it has a host, a mosquito, and it has another host, that is human being. And the same example can be given to the trypanosomes, where one host is the tabanus fly and other host is the human being or any cattle. The triheterogeneous, a parasite which has three hosts. Here example can be given of the ticks, three host ticks, their hard ticks or exodides that can infect to the three hosts at a time. Pseudoparasites, an object or body that resembles to the parasite, but that is not a parasite. So the pollen grains, air bubbles, that can be the pseudoparasites, and that can be observed during the fecal examination or during the another observations or parasitological examinations. Then is the hematophagous parasites, a parasite which lives on the blood, and here is the example of parasites that you can see there. You can see the flies, you can see the ticks, you can see the fleas, bugs, lice, and chigger mites. These all are the hematophagous parasites because they live and bite to their host to get their blood. So in this way, they are hematophagous parasites. Caprophagous parasites, a parasites or organism which lives on the feces, like dung beetles are the best examples for the caprophagous parasites. Then is the caprozoic, a parasite or organism which is free living and that pass through the GAT without harming the host, that is the caprozoic parasite. Then parasitosis, this is the delusional parasitosis, that is a very rare disorder in which there is a psychological disease. The patients have a fixed false belief of being infected with various parasites, and that is a delusional disease which a person faces. Then the parasitiasis, when a parasite doesn't produce any clinical infection or disease. The best example can be given the Theileria, a blood protozoa in the indigenous cattle like the Cholistani breed, which acts as a carrier, but they don't show any clinical signs of the disease. Juvenile parasites, that is a young stage of parasites before their sexual maturity. Here the example is the crustaceans, where they can act as a juvenile and as well as then they develop to the adult ones. The life stages of parasites have various life stages. The endoparasites and internal parasites like intestinal worms or nematodes, they have their different life stage as compared to the flukes or trematodes and cystodes or tapeworms. Here in type 1, the endoparasites or nematodes, they lay their eggs and they cross their ecdysis or larva stages like larva 1, larva 2, larva 3 and continuously up to larva 4 and 5. Then they molt and their sexual maturity is attained, and in this way they become male and female and then they lay their eggs. Here you can see in the picture of inside. In type 2, the parasite don't lay their eggs. They have their young ones like filarial worms, and that is called microfilary. Then the macrofilary pass the larval stages 1, 2, 3, 4 and then they get adult, and in this way their life cycle continues, and mostly they live inside the skins, inside the eyes and inside the blood, even of the human beings, of the cattle, of the dogs and other animals. The life cycle in the tapeworms is also different from the flukes and from nematodes. Here they lay the eggs. Inside the egg there are oncospheres, and then they develop to the cysticerci or cysticercosis that can swim also, and that cysticercosis are when taken up by the host, they penetrate inside the intestines and then they develop into the adult. And the best example is the Hemilepsis nana, that is a dwarf tapeworm. The life cycle or the way they live in the tapeworms is another type too, where the proglottids or segments of the tapeworms, when they get mature, they are released from the body and they are taken up by the animals or by the human beings accidentally, and then they develop into the adult one. And the best example is the Taenia solium and Taenia saginata. These two cause the disease teniasis also in the human beings, in the cattle and in the pigs, and vice versa this disease continues on. The third example of these tapeworms is the Daphlobothrym latum, that is a brood fish tapeworm that lays the eggs. Here you can see in the picture. Then they release the oncospheres that can swim, that is mostly a larva. Then they develop precercoids, and that precercoids develop into the pleurocercoids, and that pleurocercoids develop into the adult in the fish, and that is the Daphlobothrym latum. In this crustacean fish, if that is taken up by the man, this Daphlobothrym latum can develop into the human beings, and it can be more than 30 meters in its length. In flies, the life cycle is also different. Here the flies, bugs or mosquito, they lay their eggs, then their eggs develop into the larva, and in different ecdysis there becomes the larva 1, larva 2 and larva 3. When they attain a certain age, then they develop into the pupa, where this fly developmental stages takes place, and then they emerge from the pupa. Here you can see an life cycle of an adult fly, that is about 3 to 4 weeks, that lays eggs that can develop or hatch into the larva in 8 to 16 hours, depending upon the temperature, depending upon the atmosphere and its environment. And that larva 1 to larva 3 takes 3 days to several weeks, as I told you, depending upon various factors. Then they become the pupa, and that takes 2 to 10 days, and from pupa the fly emerges out. This is the all about the life cycle of the fly. How you can see how different it is. Other parasites, they are protozoa. The protozoa The example here is the coccidia. Coccidia as a oocyst, they are sporulated. Then from the sporulated oocyst, the sporocysts are released. From sporocysts, sporozoids are emerged out. Then they are taken up by the host, and inside the host intestine they become the trophozoites and schizones and merozoites, and between schizones and merozoites various cycles take place, and among them develop gametes. They are the microgametes and macrogametes, and this life cycle completes within the host, and then oocyst of the coccidia is released in the fecal material of the bird or other animal. In protozoa like amoeba, there is a simple binary fission. Here you can see the number one, there is a parent cell, then that divides their nucleus, then cytoplasm, and in the final stage two daughter cells are formed from the one parent cell, and they have the same resemblance and same genetic makeup, and that is the best example of binary fission in amoeba. How the parasites reproduce. Then the life stages in parasites, there can be the monogenetic parasites. In monogenetic parasites, the life cycle of the parasite, there is no any change of the or alteration of the generations. The Trichomonas will be the same, the Ascaris will be the same, their size can vary but their shape is same. In the same way Ankylostoma or hookworms and amoeba. So they are the monogenetic parasites. Then is the monogametic parasites, a parasite who is found in one single host, and then the example is the Emeria or coccidian animals. So the same animals get infection from the same parasite. So in this way, that is the monogametic parasites. Host specific parasites, a parasite will be found only in one specific host. Here example is the Gulia vivari in the Delphina. So Delphina is a little crustacean that is found in the fresh water. So that is infested with the Gulia vivari, that is a parasite. And only this Delphina is infected with this parasite. And the same example can be given of the coccidia, especially Emeria tenella, Emeria acervellana, Emeria maxima. They are also host specific. So they infect only to the poultry. They cannot infect to the other birds also. This is the example of parasitism, because that is the association between the host and parasite. We will discuss this in somewhere else also, where parasite causes a clinical disease. Here this a fish that is infected with Pseumothea exigua that eats its tongue and replaces there, and the tongue of Lithognethus is replaced by Psamothea exigua, that is a parasitism association. Here this predator attacks on the fish and gets control of its mouthpart. So this is a parasitism. We will discuss in later in detail. Then there is the parasitodism. A parasite lays eggs in any other larva of the insect, where egg hatches into the larva, and that larva eats that the larva where its eggs were given. And the example can be given of Hemiptera arthropods or soldier flies. They lay their larva on other arthropods, and in this way they consume that larva and they come out. Nidus, that is a locality on the host where parasite lives. Its shelters are home. Nidus literally means nest in Latin. Here the example is Tetrasticus julis is a parasitoid wasp which lays its eggs inside the larva of the cereal leaf beetle. The eggs hatch within the larvae and begin to feed while it is still alive before they burst out and kill it. Here this cereal leaf beetle is the nidus for Tetrasticus julis parasitoid wasps. Parasitic evolution, that is a continuous process of billions of years where the parasite have evolved with the span of time to reach its specific host or predilection site in a host. Here the various examples can be given. So the exact parasites, they locate their exact host, and within host they find their a specific site. So this is a parasitic evolution, and that has taken a billions of years to evolve them. The life cycle of parasite can be divided into simple life cycle. Here you can see the adult worm, then into the cyst, then into the larva. Then similarly adult worms, then into the larva, and adult worms into the egg and larva. This is a simple life cycle. There is no complexity inside. In complex life cycle, the trematodes have their complex life cycles because they sometimes need one intermediate host, second intermediate host, and sometimes third intermediate host to reach to the definite host. While in simple life cycles, they need no any such complexity. From host to host, they can be transferred. Here are various 6 ways the parasites get entry into the host, and they are very much successful in this way. Certain parasites, they transmit through the food, and they contaminated food, and when they are taken up by the final host, they are infecting to the final host. And here we can also give some example of the nematodes and sometimes some protozoas. Then is the skin or contact. Here hookworms and Trichomonas vaginalis, they are spread through skin or contact, and they get entry into the body and sometimes into the portal system. Then is the congenital route. Through mother to young ones, either transuterine or through lactogenic or through milk, and the best example is the Toxoplasma and Ascaris. The soil transmitted, the example is the soil transmitted nematodes or helminths, and the Ascaris lumbricoides is the best example for the soil transmitted, because the young ones or the children, they eat the soil, or sometimes they smudge their nails with the contaminated soil, and when they lick or when they put that fingers inside the mouth, then they get infection. The next suitable way is the water transmission, and here Cryptosporidium and Giardia intestinalis are the best examples that can contaminate sometimes to the whole of the community, and they can infect to the lot of number of hosts with a single run. The sixth one is the vector or arthropod transmissions. Here the examples are the flies, mosquitoes, ticks, and sand flies, bugs. These are the examples of the vector or arthropod transmission, and how the parasites get entry into the host. Passive or active transmissions or contacts. A parasite can enter into the host through two ways. One is the passive contact. Here the egg or larva cannot approach to the host, while host goes to the parasite and get the infection. While in active contact, the various parasites that are very active, they find and approach hosts. Here we can give the example of the ticks, flies, mites, and few species of the nematode worms or hookworms. They approach to the host, and in this way the host get infection.